South America's premier competition, the Copa Libertadores, has reached the final this weekend, and we'll see two Brazilian teams, Atletico Mineiro and Botafogo, kicking off at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, November 30th. Like we said, it's an all-Brazilian matchup here that'll be played at the Estadio Mas Monumental in Buenos Aires, meaning this will be the sixth straight year a team from Brazil will win and bring Brazil level with Argentina for 25 wins, the most by any team from a country all time. Now, despite this, neither of these teams was involved as winners, as finalists in any of those recent finals. In 3 of 5 recent years, it has been two Brazilian teams contesting the final. Mineiro last reached the Copa Libertadores final and won in 2013, which is the only time they've made it this far, and it's obviously their only win, while Botafogo makes their first ever finals appearance at all. Mineiro will come in as underdogs here. They're 10th right now in the domestic Brazil Serie A. They're 10, 14, and 12 with 44 points. That's a full 29 points behind their opponents here. First place Botafogo were 21, 10, and 5 with 73 points. So let's get into the odds, the form of both teams, some trends, and best bets for this game. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel for more soccer picks. Let me know where you're watching from as well down there in the comments. Like we said, Atletico Mineiro will be big underdogs here. They're plus 280 over at Bet365 to win in normal time. The draw plus 230. Botafogo favored at plus 105. Over 2.5 plus 140. The under favored minus 188. Both teams to score yes, plus 110. The no, minus 150. Atletico Mineiro to advance by any means, plus 137. Botafogo to advance and lift the trophy, heavily favored, minus 188. For Mineiro, they relatively breezed through the group stage. They were 5-0-1. From there, it was a 1-1 draw, 1-0 win over San Lorenzo in the round of 16. In the quarterfinals, they lost 1-0 in leg 1 to Fluminense before winning 2-0 in leg 2 to advance to the semis. That set up a meeting with River Plate. A huge 3-1 leg 1 win was more than enough to see them through, as they also drew 0-0 in leg 2. Now, if you include all 12 of the Copa Libertadores matches, Mineiro are 8-2-2. They've not lost in 7 games. They've only allowed more than 1 goal once in 12 games, and that was 10 games back. They've kept clean sheets in 4 of 5 and 5 of 7 recent games, and have scored in 9 of their 12 overall games. During the knockout rounds, the under 2.5 has been 5-1, so all their games in the tournament lately have been close. Switching over to Botafogo, they weren't as straightforward through the group stage, being second in their group at 3-1-2. In the round of 16, they won 2-1, drew 2-2 with Palmeiras. Then on to the quarters where they drew Sao Paulo twice, first 0-0, then 1-1. That sent things to PKs, where they advanced 5-4 on spot kicks. In the semis, they too essentially had a trip to the finals locked up after leg 1, after beating down Penarel 5-0, meaning even a 3-1 loss in leg 2 saw them easily advancing. In all 12 games for Botafogo, they're 6-3-3 in the tournament, but only last game's loss, where they didn't need to win, is their only loss in their last 10. They've scored in 9 of 12, also conceded though in 8 of 12. In the knockout rounds, Botafogo only lost 1 game, but they didn't need to win that game, as they already had the huge win in leg 1, but only 2 of 6 games in regulation, as 1 needed PKs, did they win in the knockouts. They did pile up goals, scoring 11 goals in 6 games, and the over 2.5 went 4-2. Head-to-head this season, when they've met up, Botafogo won at home 3-0 in July, and they drew 0-0 in Mineiro recently, very recently, earlier this month on November 20th. That was the only draw between them in the last 14, and the under 2.5 has hit in 5 of the last 6, with Botafogo being 3-1-1 in that time. For Atletico Mineiro and Botafogo, best bets and predictions. For all the positives about Mineiro in this competition, that leg 1 semifinals win over River Plate is their last win back on October 22nd. It's been 10 games now that have passed without them winning a game. They've scored only 6 goals in those 10 games, and 4 came in the last 2, a 2-2 draw, and then a 3-2 loss on Tuesday, albeit with a reserve squad looking ahead to this game. They could not possibly be coming into this final in any colder form right now. In contrast, Botafogo could not be in better form entering this final. Look at all competitions, and they're first in Brazil, and that 3-1 Penarel loss in leg 2 is their only defeat across their last 20 games across all matches. On Tuesday, they beat Palmeiras 3-1, but had only scored 1, 0, and 0 goals in the 3 games prior. They've only allowed 2 goals, though, in their last 5 games. Neither of these teams have been great road teams in this tournament. Botafogo has just 2 road wins. 1 needed PKs, and the other was back in the group stage. But Mineiro only has 2 road wins this tournament, and none in the knockout round. Now, if we look historically how finals in the Copa Libertadores have ended, they've generally been tight recently, with 2 ending 1-1 and needing extra time, and also 2 finishing with a 1-0 scoreline if we look at the past 4 years. Now, if we look at the last meeting between these teams played just 11 days ago, it was 0-0. The stats will all favor Botafogo with 71% possession, the shot attempts 27-3, shots on target 4-0. But you have to factor in that Mineiro took a red card in the 40th minute, so played half that game down a man. Botafogo did take 2 red cards themselves, but those were late on in the game, 97th minute and the 100th minute. To me, this game in the final certainly looks like it should be another tight game. Another close game should be expected. You'd have to lean towards Botafogo if you're picking a winner, given their form and that Mineiro has not beaten a Brazilian team in the knockout rounds in the Copa Libertadores since back in 2013 when they went on to win the title. Botafogo have not lost to a Brazilian team, meanwhile, since August, and they've only conceded 1 goal against Mineiro in the last 5 head-to-head meetings. Still, it's a final. Anything can happen, especially if it's tight. So let's combine a couple bets here into a same-game parlay over at Bet365. We'll go Botafogo double chance, so if they win or draw in regulation, and we will pair that with the under 3 goals to get -115 odds over at Bet365. For the best bet in this Copa Libertadores final, what do you have in this game? Will there be a winner, a draw? Who lifts that trophy in the end, Botafogo or Mineiro? Let me know down there in the comments, and good luck.